A descender is the part of the glyph that extends below the baseline. It is commonly used for lowercase letters like G, J, P, sometimes even F, but in all style typefaces, figures can also have descenders. Typically 3, 4, 5, 7, and 9 are the ones that extend past the baseline. Also, uppercase letters like J and Q can have descenders. Long descenders tend to have a more elegant feel, and they are more commonly used in typefaces that resemble handwriting. On the other hand, short descenders give the font a more sturdy and economical feel. That being said, there are fonts that try to remove the descenders completely, so feel free to experiment. A common depth for the descenders is 20% of the M. This means that for an M that has 1000 points, the descenders will have a depth of 200 points. Based on the grid that we did last time, given the fact that we aligned our first rectangle to the center, we already have a descender with a height of exactly 200 points. If you want to increase or decrease the height, go to the View tab and select the guides. Make sure you have the guides unlocked. If they're not unlocked, just simply click Unlock Guides. Now select both rectangles, click Transform, and on the Y-axis just add or remove as many points as you want. Add to make the descenders shorter, and subtract to make them longer. Ascenders on the other hand are only used for lowercase letters like L, K, B, and they extend past the mean line. The height of the ascenders also affects the aspect of the font, and they are generally measured in comparison to the cap height. Ascenders that extend to the same line as the cap height look more economical or neutral. The ones that extend past the cap height look more elegant, and the ones that go below the cap height are a bit on the playful side. But some typefaces even use ascenders of different heights, usually the lowercase letter t having a smaller ascender than the rest. Having ascenders with a height that extends past the cap height or lower than it will not only give the font a different feel, but also help with distinguishing the glyphs that might look similar. Most common example would be that of the capital letter I and the lowercase letter l, where most designers choose to have the ascender higher than the cap height in order to differentiate the two. Now going back to our grid in Illustrator, if you wish to have the ascenders at the same height as the cap height, just skip this step. But if you want to have them shorter or taller, the difference that I would recommend would be 3% of the cap height. So to do that, just create a rectangle with the height equal to that of the cap height and the width equal to that of the artboard. Select the height in the transform panel and type in 3%. Center it horizontally and align it to the cap height. Under for a shorter ascender and over for a taller ascender. After you decide it, just hit Ctrl 5 to convert it into a guide. Having ascenders and descenders will make your text easier to read, as opposed to having an all caps text. In terms of applicability, having long descenders and ascenders may cause problems like having them crash into each other, as they will need more space between the lines of text. And more often you need to sacrifice X height to get longer ascenders and descenders. This makes them more flashy and they are good for display typefaces. Having short ascenders and descenders allows you to have a larger X height, which will make the text more legible, and you will also be able to fit more text in the same amount of space, making them ideal for books, newspapers, and products where the text is small and you have a limited amount of space. If you have any questions, join the Discord server.